We have just had a session based around Pride from many different organisations across the world, but we have one that's quite close to Romford here. Would you all like to introduce yourselves as to who you are, the role in the film that we've just seen, and where you're from?
Hi, my name's Sam, and I'm chair of Southend Pride, and I also did the script for Why We Pride.
I'm Lewis. I'm the entertainment coordinator for Southend Pride, and was one of the voices on the Why We Pride video.
And I'm Ben. I'm the director and producer of Why We Pride.
So what prompted you to make this film to begin with? Why this film and why now?
I'll take this one. So our company work with a lot of Pride festivals, and something that we've come across as allies is people outside of Pride festivals are saying, well, why does this need to happen? You have a whole month, you have equality now, why is this necessary? And we just, because I have no filter, just straight up went to Southend Pride and said, why are you doing this? And all of this history was uncovered to me, and like I was aware it wasn't the sort of glossy image of like, oh, everyone's equal and everyone's happy now. No, there is still a lot of inequality happening. And we just kind of wanted to get that message across to the rest of the world so that people will essentially understand why Pride needs to keep happening and why it isn't just something that needs to happen within 1 month and then everyone can be quiet for the rest of the year. It's a constant need. And so we thought we'd lay out, we asked Sam to sort of explain the history of Pride, and then we turned it into a film.
And did you ever anticipate having a film made about Southend Pride?
Well, Ben from Blatella Film has been with us right from the beginning in 2018? No, was it around then?
18, yeah.
2018. So every single year they've done films for us. So this was just like a sideline to our regular films of the festival and so on.
Yeah, the films that Ben and his wife Natalie are an incredible sort of allyship to Southend Pride. We're really lucky to have them involved. And so we do like a week of fringe events, and without fail they've always been there just to capture little snapshots. So, we've always had like a 1-2 minute film just being like, this is what happened last week, this is really cool. So it's really lovely to sort of see that accumulate into an actual Why We Pride film.
And have you had any special screenings of the film with the Pride committee or the attendees?
Well, here's the thing. This is actually the second version of this film.
Oh.
We did this in 2023, and it was shown in Southend on the big screen. I think it was for the week of Southend Pride, and so lots of people would see it. And obviously, with the subtitles, it helps. People can sort of read along and that. But then the film kind of existed like that, and then this year, massive developments in the wrong direction, really, for gender equality. So we thought we would reach out and revisit the film, and kind of gave us a chance to re-record bits and fix some of the errors there, because we're never happy. You're never happy with the film when you make a film. But luckily Lewis was happy to be involved this time around, and we felt it was really important to sort of emphasise the Gender Recognition Act and the changes that have come about this year, and how, like I said, it's just a step backwards. We needed to start really shouting about that message again and say, look, stop. Let's start digging up.
Absolutely. Have you sent this film to other festivals? Are you aiming to go for only LGBT festivals? Are you hoping to go for more all genres, wider range?
No, it's going everywhere.
We did see the app earlier and the scrolling. There's a lot.
There's 160 I think we're waiting to hear from, but so far it has been shown, I think, about 20 all over the world as well, which is nice. And we are actually trying not to target LGBT festivals. I love this one. We have to, but because we feel like the message needs to be heard by people who wouldn't ordinarily go to Pride events or go to LGBT film festivals. We need people out there who aren't aware of all these laws that have come about and disappeared and come back, and we need them to go, oh, that's why Pride's happening. Oh, I should go support that.
No, absolutely. That's always the debate of your audience.
Thank you.
So when working on Southend Pride, what brought you onto the team? What brought you into wanting to bring Pride events to Southend, and what have been your major challenges so far for both of you?
I mean, I don't want to say it, but money.
Yeah, that's.
As in a challenge, he's not doing it to make. Like, we don't make any money.
No.
To be clear.
I think the very first one we did, we didn't know how many would come, whether anyone would come at all. And I know the first time when we walked down the high street to where the Pride March was gathering, and we turned the corner and there was like, I don't know, 1,000 people, and it was like, oh my God, people do actually want this. And that first march and festival was so successful that people wanted it again and again and again, and we've now been going 8 years. And I think it's important because somewhere like Southend, where you can walk up your own high street, where you live, where you work, and you can be yourself, even if it is for only that one day, it's really important for people.
I kind of stumbled on it. It's really weird timing that it's almost like a bit of a weird feeling that it was multiple people within our community felt it at the same time. So I have like a cabaret drag background, and I wanted to put together a drag event because there wasn't one in Southend, and I had no ticket sales. I was frantically searching who might come watch it, and I was going to try and maybe offer some free tickets to any queer groups I could find, and happened to stumble on Southend Pride's Facebook page, and it hadn't happened yet. This was the year they were building, so I met with our chair at the time, Dan. And that's how I came on board to kind of put some events, and I've still got the poster, that very first Kings vs Queens drag night we did. I've got that poster in my new hallway, which is nice. And it's just, it's like Sam says, we always tell that story about we thought we'd maybe get 50 people, turn the corner, like, Jesus, 1,000 of them, that's good. And I think we had that year, it was about 3,000 at the festival.
Yeah, about that. It's now
about 6,000 in it we get.
Yeah, it's 2,000 in the March, and we get around 6,000 at the festival.
And we're very clear as a Pride, we want to be accessible, so we never charge entry. We don't want to be one of these come and celebrate, but only if you've got 25 quid to see someone. Like we just want to be able to be there for our community, which is where we find money is the issue, because how do we fund it? But we get by, don't we?
We get there in the end.
Yeah.
Do you have any key moments throughout your time with Southend Pride? Has there been that one moment where you realise that's it for you, that this is why you do it, or has one person told you a positive story that has had that feeling, that warming feeling, and makes all the stress and all the struggle with the funding just absolutely worth it?
I think for me, I mean, every year, I do it every year when I walk down to where people are gathering for the march, and every year it just like fills me with like, oh, you know. And that first year when we all went up to Warrior Square, which is where the festival is, and all the volunteers and organisers, we just all sort of collapsed in tears because we were just so like, oh my God, you know, it's amazing. But I think just wandering around the festival on the day and sort of eavesdropping on people's conversations, and especially young people, and how joyful they are that they've got this space where they can be themselves and meet other people and know that they're not alone. I think for me that's what's the important side of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I find I get a lot of little moments through when you're doing the performing side. A lot of people want to come and talk to you after, and I've actually found, weirdly enough, I've had lots of mums come to me that have got their kid with them for their very first Pride, and they're like, my kid is trans and feels really lonely and isolated, and I really loved your experience. That's like Kath's partner Lou, little Zach. That's kind of how he kind of started coming out of his shell through going to these events, these like drag story times we were putting on. But I remember my first year stage managing, so 2019, because it's when we had this is the first time we've had it, and the only time since, touch wood, where it, like, awful rain, and it stopped our festival for about 45 minutes, and I was having a bit of a paddy, like, oh, there's no point, everyone's going to go away, blah, blah, blah. And I remember looking out, and in that little field bit at the front where you sit, there are these two teenagers with, like, pride paint, and just they'd made ponchos out of their coats, and they were just sat there staring, waiting for it to keep going. And I was like, yeah, that's why we're going to keep doing this, for them people. It's nice.
Romford had a pride earlier on in the summer, and there was these 4 lovely people dressed full black outfits, full goth, and they were there for the morning, and I thought, oh no, where'd they go? Hiding in the shade. I just go around the corner and they're just like trying to shield from the sun, and it is those moments that really does make it all worth it.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, there's something that I've seen from an outside perspective, because I'm not involved in the organisation or the running of Southend Pride. We sponsor it and we come along and film the day. So I don't see any of the build-up, I just see the day itself. And I love seeing the same faces just being their happiest self on the day. But there's, I think we've filmed, 5-6 years now, and I've seen people in the footage sort of grow into their real self over the years. Like you'll see someone who's just there and they're there with a friend, and then you'll see them a year later and you can see they've started a trans journey, or they're just a lot more, or they're there without their friend, they're just there on their own now, and you can kind of see that progression, and they're finding that sense of acceptance, and that's just really nice. I like seeing that. Like it'd be one of those things where, as a filmmaker, I'd like to go back and see that person each year, but I was like, that would be very unethical, and I should not do that.
You can see it though. There's I don't want to say the name out loud, and like, there's a trans man who you will spot him in your images, because it's like the first year he sort of was really timid. The second one, he then has like this purple mohawk. And then there's like the next year he's got a binder on with the mohawk even bigger. Then the next year he's had his surgery and he's not wearing anything, and he's just got his scars and some like paints. He's a great one to watch him like progress.
It's a very unique thing to be able to organically capture as well. You set out to do that, it's not going to happen. They're never going to come back, but you do it by accident. They're there every year.
I'll be back here with that film in another 4 or 5 years. We'll just see the full story.
Do you have any questions from the audience?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm curious. We saw Southend Pride and Redbridge Pride, and Carrie, you're largely responsible for Romford Pride. Is there any kind of network, informal or otherwise, that local communities who want to set up a pride in their city or town can tap into?
There should be, really. I think there's been talk in Essex, hasn't there, between, was it Essex Pride and another Pride, about us setting up a hub for us regionally. But I think a lot of the time it's essentially just, you end up just contacting someone else's pride going, how did you do it? Can we do that? Are we allowed to?
There is the UK Pride Organisers Network, which is a collective of basically chairs of various prides, and they come together for a conference every year. But I don't know much more beyond that. Sam, I don't know if you've been to those events.
Yeah, I've not been to any of the conferences, but they are very good for getting in contact with if you've got any questions, if you want some advice or whatever, because you've got all those different chairs from various prides all around the country who have done it before, who know a little bit, about what there actually needs to be done, and you can just ask them questions, whatever, and they're very good at coming back to you.
But then this is the thing. Obviously, London Pride is the big one, and it has millions of people go to that now. But like I said, was it Redbridge Pride, the film? That's just as important, because there's people there that are in Redbridge that will go to that, but don't quite feel comfortable to travel to central London, because that could be 40-50 minute train journey to get in, or bus journey. And the point of a pride is that you need to be yourself in your hometown and say, look, I'm here, and this is fine, and you need to be used to this. I'm not going anywhere. And so the idea of having to travel to a pride is weird. And so that's why the smaller ones are so important. But there should be some sort of like collective. I'm sure there is.
I mean, while there isn't a formal collective of local prides, prior to starting something with Romford, we got in touch with Thurrock Pride, and it was just those little conversations of, well, what are your best starting steps? And from there, got in touch with Redbridge. So there's a very informal conversation around very local, but I think something regional might be a little bit more helpful. So maybe that's the next project, 2026. You can film it. We'll be here.
It's funny. You went to Thurrock. Thurrock came to us.
Oh, nice.
So it's reaching out to the different prides really, and just racking their brains really.
I think the only sad thing about some regional prides, kind of like when putting it off the grounds, it takes so much dedication and like volunteer-wise, it consumes a lot of your life. Sam is such a credit to Pride that literally gives her life to it, and we wouldn't be a thing without Sam. Sometimes just people getting together trying to organise it can be overwhelming, and unfortunately sometimes it takes for an incident to happen that makes a regional sort of a small town or whatever go, no, we need to do this. Basildon Pride, for their first one about 2020, 21, around that time, they had a queer POC mayor at the time, and people in Basildon didn't like they're these kind of people, and were posting things through letterboxes around the town being like, we don't like these people, and in retaliation I think David organised in about a month a mini pride, didn't he? In retaliation to that, and then suddenly had this overwhelming amount of support, which is what grew that into a pride. So we would hope that people would want to put it on just because they want to give a safe space as opposed to having to do a safe space. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do we have any more questions from the audience? Yes, we've got one at the front.
How big would you like to get Southend Pride to be ideally?
I like it as it is. It's very much a community pride, and we're located for our festival right in the heart of the town. So transport routes and everything, it's so easy to get there. And also it has an impact on the high street because everyone in the high street can hear it and often will come over and see what's going on. And I think sort of between 6,000 and 7,000 in a festival for somewhere like Southend is enough. I don't think we want to outgrow Warrior Square because it is such a nice location. So yeah.
Whereas I wanted to take over the world and take over the whole beach and have the pier full of people diving off it.
Maybe a happy medium of 12,000.
Yeah, fine.
Well, thank you very much for coming along to Romford, and if anyone is looking to set up a pride, you know who to talk to. Can we get a round of applause, please?